Okay, let's talk about the bass. So on the chorus, I have two basses. They're actually layered. One is for the low information. So this was a sub. I used the same preset, the XL NASCAR. And then I layered it with the top one. Just kind of, give more information in the mid section, and also to make you hear better those bass notes, because there is actually a melody there, and the melody in the bass section is really important for this particular beat, to be honest. So together they sound like this. As you can hear, it has an organic sound. Even though the top one, has some saturation on it, it makes it, interesting. For the top one, I actually used the Summer High, a different preset. And then I kind of, messed around with the compressor, with the tape section here, and also with the width. This way, I kind of was able to make this this melody a bit more wide. Yeah. So more or less that was it. So I will quickly talk about the chorus section. I have a layer of 3 synths here. On the intro part, they come from a filter. I made an automation using just the stock plugin from Pro Tools, the EQ7. It's just amazing for this kind of, quick filters. So it slowly opens up. So when it comes to chords, I use 3 layers. First one is the contact. I feel like this block has, kind of a nice warm sound, so I needed this block for the body part, and it sounds very organic. So it's the hybrid keys, bedtime preset, tweaked a bit, you can move around with all these parameters, to adjust it for your song. But in my case, I just tweaked it a bit, I gave up on the reverb just to kind of be able to control it better after if I wanted. So yeah, I kept it a bit dry, and then I added a compressor, just to kind of, even though it's a bit drastic, I really wanted this to kind of sound compressed, not to sound too dynamic, to be honest. This way I control it really, really good in the chorus section especially. Then I have this preset from Sam Smyers, the Rather Be preset. It just worked so nicely, and it has such a warm sound, so yeah. Then another preset comes in, the PL Crush. This is the sound that I was aiming for the mid-high information, just to kind of give that sort of a marimba feeling in a way, but in a very warm and organic way. And another plug comes in just on the chorus part, is the plug Symphony. It's actually still from, let me quickly check out, from the Sticky Future Bass Volume 2 preset, some nice plugs. I really have some nice third-party presets that I'm using with Serum, and this plug to work well for this whole kind of stack. So all together sound like this. The last block, it actually sounded like this. Then I decided to add the compression, just to even things out. Then a filter, because I didn't like that high frequency. It was quite annoying for this genre especially. So it kind of made it more warm. I have another EQ, you know, just for the low cut part. One of these EQs, you might wonder, why do I have two EQs in a row, the same one? One of these I sometimes use, you know, for the filter, and it's already kind of equipped with the low pass frequency, you know, automation. So I have it closed, you know, and then on top of that, I added just an EQ to cut the really, really low frequencies. And then on top of that, I added the black box, just, you know, to give a bit of a saturation. It kind of sounds like this. It's a really nice warming sound, and altogether, you know, they create a good pluck. And on top of that, I also have a pluck lead. It's hybrid keys, bedtime, with an auto pan, a compressor on it, and an EQ, same thing, you know, for filtering purpose. So yeah, kind of creates, you know, a counter melody. It worked well, so I liked it. I left it there. You know, some nice melody there, you know, on the chorus, just so you can feel that it's more melodic as well. Beside that, I have the chord section here with some long notes. Hybrid keys again. Just an EQ to cut off the highs and the lows. Another EQ again, just for the extra, you know, filtering purpose. You know, this track would have worked without the last EQ as well, but I mean, it was just, you know, it felt natural. Then on top of that, I have another hybrid keys. This time the piano vibes preset. I like the fact that it was moving, kind of like it created this moving chords vibe, so I kept it. And together with the other chords, sounded really, really nice, and they fill out the space really, really nicely. On top of that, chords-wise, I have also a pad. I'm a fan of the warm analog pad preset from Avenger. It always works. Every time you feel kind of that the production needs something more, you know, to fill out the space, to have, you know, more harmonic elements, you know, you can always use the warm analog pad. So yeah, I have just a compressor, an EQ again to cut off the low information. I really, really try to be careful, you know, with the low information, because otherwise, you know, they might fight with the bass, especially when I have this kind of subs. So yeah, I didn't want anything to fight with the bass, to be honest, with the kick and the bass. Created a nice melody. These are some synths from Arcade. I always use them. This particular case, I chopped them, I cut them, you know, and they created this melody, you know, out of like 3 different kind of plucks. So for instance, let's listen to them all together. I mean, it just worked well. It's a really, really nice melody, you know, underneath there, so it would match well any top line. Again, for these synths, we have some basic processing, just a reverb to make them a bit more dreamy, to give them kind of, you know, dimension, compressor, EQ, and the Pro Q3 just to clean out some frequencies here. As I always do, you know, I like those kind of ear candy stuff. So I add some arcade, you know, vocal chops and samples. These kind of, you know, ear candy stuff add that extra layer of dimension, you know, to the whole production. And it also kind of contributes, you know, to the freshness of the track. So then the second verse comes in, and you know, just to kind of spice things up and to add a new element again towards the end, not to have something too linear, I added a guitar. For the guitar, you might say that it's recorded, and I usually do that. I usually record my guitars. But to be honest, in this particular case, I just loaded up quickly the session guitarist, and there was a nice preset, you know, Sweet Love called. Even though it's kind of more made for Latin stuff, but I know it just had kind of a good feeling, a good vibe. But you will see that here, kind of in the preset. So the thing is that this guitar sounds nice and warm, but for this particular case, to be honest, I wanted to make it less obvious. I wanted to feel like, you know, an element there that comes in, but not that obvious. I didn't want, you know, to fill out the stereo spectrum. So I kind of processed it a bit differently. I chose this guitar for the pattern, which I liked, but then I kind of, you know, removed all the low end, all the high end. I went in like really crazy with the EQ. I use the Brigade Chorus. I always love using Brigade Chorus for the guitars. The Pro MB as a multi-band compressor, and then a reverb. So now it sounds like this. Let's compare it to the original. I know that you might say that, you know, the original, you know, sounds more warm, more wide, but I didn't need low information because I had it from the bass and from the chords, from the pads. I had the plugs as well, so it would just make, you know, a huge mess there. So for instance, I really wanted the guitar to be subtle. So this is how it sounds in the context.